Lulu Reveal. New champion, Legends of Runeterra.
Here I am! Wherever here is.
She looks creepy.
Pleased to meet
3
you.
mana 2/3 support. My supported ally grows to 4/4 this round. A level up, our allies have been supported 3 times. Seems good in aggro. Use it with the moss or the tracker, okay. That is also a new card. Elephant looking ass.
Cuddly incoming!
Whimsy, transform a follower into a 1/1 squirrel and silence of this round. Okay. So very much so lined up with her League of Legends champion, if that's her champion card.
So cute! I see someone's been practicing their Adorabus spells, just like you showed me, Lulu. Go Pix! You fly on, you cute little.
That's kind of cool. Ooh, that flower is scary. That flower's not fucking around.
It's Pix!
Help picks grant an ally barrier or an enemy vulnerable this round. Can't be cast in combat or response to a spell. So it's like budget burst spell. That's kind of nice. It's a flexible card. Give the Lulu barrier. But yeah, you can block the Swain. And then vulnerable. Oh my god. Insane. Hey, what is up guys, Control here, and I figured I'd do a quick rundown of the cards from the past 2 days as well. So today, obviously Lulu was released, we just saw that in the video. She's a 3 mana 2/3 support. My supported ally grows up to 4/4 this round, and she levels up when 3 allies have been supported. So not that tough to level up. She's a very early game oriented unit, I would say, that's susceptible to removal, and I think that she's just a little bit weak on curve. I think she could be good, like shown in the video, when utilized with cards like Young Witch that do allow you to just give her quick attack, or, you know, once she's leveled up, maybe she's played a little bit later on in the game to give her barrier, for example, with the help picks. I think that could be decent. I do think though, as a 2/3 early on, she's going to die too much. And my instant look at her is that she would want to be played in decks that are going to be able to utilize her effect in more of an aggressive manner. So I'm thinking like the Demacia with challengers. You know, the tracker is like the first thing that came to my mind. Flame Chompers is another one. Maybe PNZ with this could be good. Once she's flipped, she gets a little bit better though. So she becomes a 3 mana 3/4. Round start, create a fleeting help picks in hand. So that's a help picks card we start at the end there that gives an ally barrier or an enemy vulnerable at burst speed. Shitty burst speed, that is. Just decent. It's definitely not a bad card to say. So you get that every single round. It's very nice for the barrier. Obviously, it can't work during combat though. So if your opponent open attacks, you can't use it. But the fact that it gives you vulnerable is really good because you can make it so Lulu just targets a bad unit, I guess. Or you remove one of the core units your opponent's playing. So I think that part's pretty good. And the supported ally gets buffed up to a 5/5. Again, only this round. This isn't permanent. All of these Ionia kind of support cards are only round oriented. They're not, you know, permanent game buffs like the Targon ones have been so far. Important to keep in mind. That being said, still decent. I mean, you can make your small challenger unit become a 4/4 or 5/5. Pretty good. And obviously, I mean, just having to support 3 times to level up is nice. She won't be leveled up on curve, but she is a card that will be able to be flipped relatively early on in the game, which is nice. And I mean, supporting also only happens when you're attacking, so keep that in mind as well. It's not like it's super easy. You know, maybe you'll have this down by like turn 5 or 6, which might be a little bit too light. For champion card, Lulu's Whimsy. This is one that I literally just sat in Swimstream and watched him and a bunch of other content creators talk about for like just over an hour, arguing about whether or not this card is complete trash or good. So the Whimsy is a 4 mana burst spell, transform a follower into a 1/1 squirrel and silence at this round, shuffle a Lulu into the deck. I found that there's almost no moderate approaches to this. Everybody was either saying it's completely meta breaking, it's a OP card, or, you know, on the polar opposite end, people were saying it's trash. For me, I think it's like a pretty solid 3 out of 5. I think the card's decent. I don't think there's a lot of followers right now that are going to be that insane to really hit with this card. Big ones you could think about are like Leviathan, or, I mean, that's the main one that comes to my mind. Another one is obviously Dayhunter. Those are like really the 2 biggest ones, which are definitely the high roll situations where it's good. Now, it's also okay if you hit like a, you know, a mid-sized unit like a 5/5, but I feel like it's really not that great. Like say an Avarice and Hearthguard. Perfectly fine if that's the case. Not really that great of a hit, but it's all right. And, you know, that's okay. One of the big things I would say about this is that it can only hit followers. So if it could hit champions, obviously this card would be insane, turbo broken, and, you know, auto nerf. But it can only hit followers, and it seems like a lot of champions are really core to the strategies that you have right now. And really, they're the reason why decks work the way that they do. You're not seeing a lot of decks that are more focused on mid-range units, like, say, I don't know, like Demacia builds earlier on where you just have Garen as a unit that give you rally maybe and fewer as like a 3/3 that just does stuff sometimes. Those really aren't decks right now. I don't think that they really do too much. There's like the vulnerable Bilgewater plus Shadow Isles Undying deck, but that's kind of more of a meme deck. It's not really one that sees play, so not really something to talk about in my opinion. I think that the big thing about this card being compared, I think, to Will of Ionia a lot of time in the discussions that I listened to at least, was that Will of Ionia is just a lot better, I think. I think that the fact that Whimsy cannot hit champions is a really, really big downside. Now, that being said, I do know that in the new set, support's going to be a big thing. So being able to hit cards like Mountain Sojourners, for example, with Whimsy will be nice. And I do think that's a relevant point to keep in mind. And I do think in these kind of board-based meta games where there are a lot of, just combat going on a lot of time with, units that are maybe a little bit more higher up in cost, it will be a fairly good card. I would have to say that you need to really realize how long this card may sit in your hand and not be valuable for. You don't really want to have dead draws when you play this game. And when you're playing reactive Ionia decks, you already do have a fair amount of dead draws. So I'd say for that reason, it's maybe not the best. But it is nice as a combat trick. I mean, you can transform any follower into a 1/1. You don't have to get insane value out of this. You can just get a little bit of value and it's still good. So I do think for that reason, this card is still okay. It's playable, but I don't think it's going to be meta defining or turbo broken by any means. I think it's just a solid card. The way that I rate this is I think it's like a very solid 3 out of 5. I don't think it's insane. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's going to define any metas, and I don't think it's really going to be nerfed or anything. I think it's just a decent card that's a good option. Again, the big thing to notice is that it says transform a follower. It's not transform a champion. This is not going to do anything to say Ezreal, any Ezreal build at all. It's not going to matter at all, which is one of the biggest things. Because I mean, I don't really know if they're going to be nerfing Ezreal or not. It's going to be interesting for the new set, but that's another topic, I guess. But basically for me, I'm not like super over the moon enthusiastic about this just because it's only followers. I think it is a decent card though, but just not one that is insane by any means. The 1/1 Squirrel's a token you get from Lulu when you do use Lulu's Whimsy. That's just a terrified little squirrel you get silenced to. I don't know why, but they just don't like him, so they silence him. Pix is a 1-mana 0/1 support card. Support grant my supported ally plus 2 on this round. Definitely not bad. It's one of the ones that is really easy to clear for sure, but it does give you a solid buff early on. I don't really know if you'd want to run this main deck. I mean, it is a 1-mana support card, so just because of that and the fact that it gives 2 attack and 1 health to a unit is pretty good. But I mean, in what exact case is it good? Maybe you have challengers early, for example, or maybe this is just a good card to kind of snowball the effects of the Tark or Lulu level up, maybe to get those supported champions out. I feel like this card's kind of underwhelming myself. I mean, it's 1-mana 0/1, so it just dies. It's not that great, so I would say it's kind of underwhelming. Into any challenger unit, it's terrible, and it gets removed by literally any removal spell. So not very good if you ask me. But if your entire game plan rests on you getting your support level ups, your support champions leveled up as fast as possible, it's good. Next up, 4-mana 3/3 Fey Guide, play Granted Ally Elusive. I think this card's actually quite a bit better than you'd think. I don't think it's like really that playable, but it's one that probably will be good day 1 and 2 of the set when everyone's playing just support cards nonstop. I think that jamming elusives and having Fey Guide there, maybe like on a Zed, could be kind of good on curve if you're on evens. I do think the way that you could think about this card is like a way for, I guess, Ionia to give any unit elusive, although a lot of them already do have elusive. But this is good. Maybe you put that on one of your support cards, give that elusive so it's protected more. You could think about this card as like a 2-mana 3/3, because I mean, Sunworks map is like a 2-mana burst speed spell that gives a unit elusive, so it's not really that comparable because they're different factions, but it is the most direct kind of comparison you can make. I think a 4-mana 3/3 as far as blocking goes is okay. It's not great. As far as attacking goes is also not great, but the fact that you give a unit elusive is good. And I think that this card could see niche play if there is really a unit you do want to make elusive that you do think is going to be able to just carry you. I think this will also enable OTK strategies that are kind of not in the P and Z plus Ionia kind of faction. Right now you see like Vi, Sunworks map, and I believe Dusk and Dawn right now is like an OTK combo you can do. Same with like Assembly Bot with those. I believe Assembly Bot is P and Z though, so that's gonna have to stay in P and Z. But in Ionia, you can do that with Dusk and Dawn with Fey Guide now to give a unit elusive. It's not like a 1 turn effect that is permanent, so it should be good, or at least the way I'm reading it, I'm assuming it's permanent. So I think for that reason, this card could be good. Obviously, it has a 4-mana tag to it, so it's not a spell. It's cheap to play like the map, but I think that it is still a card that is playable and will see niche play. Next up, 2-mana 2/3 Startled Stomper, 2-mana 2/3 Overwhelm, and it's a Targon card. The rest are Ionia. Important to take a note of that. I think that this card is actually really good. I think that this is one that'll see play and is a good unit to kind of just support. That's about it. You want to use your supportive effects in these. A lot of the support effects are not round only. They are going to be perma buffs in Targon. So for that reason, I think the Startled Stomper is a good unit to get that started on. I think if this was a 3-2, it would be a lot worse. But the fact that it's a 2-3 means that it won't just get mysticked on turn 2. The card will stick around. And I think for that reason, because it'll stick around and have the ability to be supported over and over again, I do think that this card is powerful. I think I'd rate it like 3.5 out of 5 probably. Yeah, that's what I'll lock in for Startled Stomper. Good solid 2-drop, and it's just a very good option to run. It's one of those more vanilla units that just has enough stats and a good keyword that it will make the cut in a lot of these decks, I think. That's about it for this part. I can talk about the cards yesterday though as well. First up, 1 mana, 1/2 Flower Child. When I'm supported, grant me +2 attack. So this is a card that only gets buffed by itself being supported. So at first I compared it to Green Glade Caretaker, but the thing is Caretaker gets buffed by any unit getting barrier. So I would say Flower Child, unless support as a mechanic overall is very overpowered, is not very good. But that kind of leads you to the second card, Young Witch, which is a 2 mana 1/1 support, give my ally quick attack and +1 attack this round, which is obviously kind of, they're put side by side for a reason, right? They're cards that do work well together. Flower Child is very good when you're on evens with a Young Witch in play. And Young Witch being an elusive card means that she is going to be kind of protected. So I think for that reason, Flower Child could see play just because they are pushing support very heavily. And I think that, a 1-drop that kind of scales a little bit could be quite good because of that. I think the first time you attack with this, it's going to be a 3-2 or worse with whatever support kind of benefit you're going to give it. So it's not a terrible card. It's one that does work later on with the full support package. But to play this card, you are going to have to go all in on supports. Young Witch, I would say as a card by herself is a little bit better, I think, because she has elusives. I think she is a little bit less susceptible to being cleared early on by other units when she's attacked into, and maybe a support card that could attack 1 or 2 times to scale that Dark or that to Lulu a little bit quicker. I do think as a 1/1 though, she gets pinged off by a lot of stuff, so not insane by any means, but a little bit better than Flower Child. 3 mana 4/2 TC Feyfolk. I think this card is actually a lot better than you would imagine at first. It's a 3 mana 4/2 with Lifesteal that is going to be a meta dependent card, but is one that will offer, its body up as a good blocker, good way to heal a little bit later on in the game, and just a good option for Ionia for Lifesteal. So you can maybe run around and not run Eye of the Dragon, for example, which is kind of nice. You don't have to play all those cheap spells if you don't want to. And as far as the support decks go right now, it looks like they're not going to have room to play Eye of the Dragon and all the cheap spells. So TC Feyfolk is maybe just a solid kind of anti-aggro card that allows you to kind of just play it on turn 3 or turn 10 and still get some value for it in these type of decks that are going to be utilizing support more. And I mean, this card can get support as well from like Young Witch and pop off that way as well. So I think it is just a solid addition and definitely the strongest of the 3 so far. I actually would rate this card quite highly, probably like a 4 out of 5 for me. Obviously, it's not like an auto include, but it's a card that is very powerful when it will be called upon. Next up, Swole Skrull. Teemo cracked out. Basically, you hit Teemo with some steroids. You get that 4 mana 3/4 strike, double my power. I see this card seeing niche play in more fun archetypes than like Demacia, for example, a single combat concerted strike to kind of buff it up. As well as like, the support mechanic with it being powerful. I think that, combat tricks like that to protect it and keep it alive are going to be good. And, we'll see it be fun. It'll be sweet. Maybe some like, Noxus stuff where you make it have like, I don't know, 100 attack and play something that gives it overwhelm with like Kato the Arm or a Might could be pretty fun as well. As far as the stat line goes, I mean, the fact that it's a 3/4 is pretty good for 4 with that effect. So I actually don't think it's that bad. One of the ones I think we'll see niche play. 4 mana 3/3 Fuzzy Caretaker. When I'm supported, give me +3 health this round. Support, give my supported ally +3 attack. So this is a card that's going to get 3 health in addition to whatever the support effect that it gets is. It's a 4-drop though, and as a 3/3, it's quite bad at blocking, which is kind of the downside of all these support cards is that they're quite bad at blocking, really. They're not good defensively, and that's one of the things I would say, you should keep in mind, really, when you're looking at cards like this is, its upside is pretty good. Any support gets buffed up by +3 health. It is only this round, though, unfortunately, but it is still decent for just attacking with. Blocking-wise, though, it's quite trash, whereas like TC Feyfolk, for example, or even Flower Child post-1 support buff don't really suffer from that. So I would say because of that, I think this card is not that great. I think it's an okay card and one that's, again, we'll probably see niche play, but is not like more of an auto-include card in these kind of support decks. It's one of the ones that you would probably include as like a 1 or 2 of, I think, later on in the build. Okay, well, that's it for the cards from the last 2 days. I will upload tomorrow if there is more releases as far as the cards go, and I will do a gameplay video for tomorrow as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I am going to be live tonight, 6 p.m. PST, so if you want to chat about some of the cards that have came out, feel free to tune into the Twitch stream. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.